jaw here, okay? And so you can see there's the quadrate, and there is the, let's do it from this side. There's the quadrate, this is the view we have normally, and there's the metapterygoid. So those are those two bones that ossify in the palatal-quadrate cartilage, quadrate and metapterygoid. Okay. And then on the lower jaw, which is the opposite side, I apologize for that, you can see this little bone at the back, inside all the dermal bones, and that is the articulator right there. Let's see this little guy right here. So that's why I like this disarticulated skull, is to be able to see some of these bones that are just deep and inside of the skull. Okay? So then for the hyoid arch, that's the mandibular arch. Hyoid arch, one big bone, the hyomandibula, and the hyomandibula can usually be seen on some of these if I've got a place to look for it. Well, we'll just have to do it there as best we can. The hyomandibula is just behind the quadrate and underneath the preopercular. So this one in here is hyomandibula. Okay. This bone right here. Okay. Do you see that at all? Or am I just waving this around? Okay, right in there is the hyomandibula. Okay. That's a little tricky. The one, frankly, that you should definitely hint, make sure you can recognize from the outside of one of these skulls is the quadrant, because it's really obvious and it's super important. It's the main jaw joint bone for all non-invertebrates, except for mammals. Okay, and then branchial arches, hard to see really, but you know, we can do this. We can look in our sagittally sectioned skull and see all of this is all the branchial arches in here. Okay, this is actually the hyoid. This is the ceratohyal coming around there. And you can see there's these tooth plates that line the pharynx that are lying on the branchial arches. So these guys can chomp pretty well with their pharynx, and it's kind of worth looking in there. And some of the, you see that okay? Some of these skulls, I'm not sure if either of these are particularly good. This one's a little bit better. If you just look in the mouth, you can look in there and you see something that looks like a tongue, which is the base of the branchial arches, all kind of buried in there. And then going back from that, you can see the branchial arches themselves. So that's all in there. Okay, very cute. All right, so that's it. That's really not so bad. But I did want to just point out what's going on in teleos by comparison. Okay, and this cod skull is really nice for this. The main thing to notice in teleos is that the premaxilla and maxilla are both free to move. So in the amia, only the maxilla is swinging, but in, I think, all teleos, if I'm not mistaken, I hate to say all, it always makes me worried. But as far as I know, all teleos, both of them move. And in more derived teleos, like this cod, or like our perch that we're looking at there, the premaxilla actually grows back and excludes the maxilla from the gape. So the main bone that carries all the teeth on the upper jaw is the premaxilla. That's this one here. And the maxilla is behind it and has no teeth on it whatsoever. So this is the maxilla. Okay.
That's the premaxilla?
This is the premaxilla, and this is the maxilla.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's a little confusing about the teleos, and so I wanted to be clear on that. Dentary still there, lower jaw made up by the dentary. It is fused to, I shouldn't say that. It's behind it is the angular, and the angular is fused to the articular to form an angulo-articular in these guys. So that's the kind of fusion that we get in a lot of bony vertebrates, where you can have elements. So this is angulo-articular. Joint right there. So this is all angulo-articular, forming the jaw joint here. Upper jaw is going to be quadrate, forming the jaw joint. So there it is. There's the quadrate, just like we had in Amia. It's pretty obvious. Okay, jaw joint, upper jaw is quadrate. And then up above the quadrate is this element here, and this is the metapterygoid. Okay. So again, we can see it just right up above the quadrate. And then, make sure I'm going down my list, right behind them here, this bone here is the hyomandibular. Am I looking at that? Sorry, I'm just outlining it to you guys. Yeah, well, that's right. Okay, that's hyomandibular, right there. Okay.
Bless you.
Thank you.
And then you can see the operculum here extending back, and in front of the operculum here is that preoperculum again, which is again a very distinctive bone that you can recognize in a lot of fishes. Okay. There's operculum. And what are all these things sticking down there?
Brachiostegal.
Those are the brachiostegal rays. And you can see why in these guys they're called rays, because they look like these thin rays, unlike in Amia. And the branchial arches, I'll just point out, in this one you can see really well if you look in the mouth. See what the branchial arches look like. And they got nice teeth too on the branchial arches. So, okay. Oh, circumorbital series. Just notice there is something around the orbit. That would be circumorbital series. And that would be it for all of our bones. Okay. So.
Can I say free operculum?